Hi there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to a new and possibly my final Smite video. But today we're going over the patch notes for 4.10 Trials of King Hercules. Just going to put it out there that if the Overwatch videos I've already assembled and plan to upload are going to be well received, I may just switch over to that. And I really don't think I can flip-flop between Smite and Overwatch, especially on ranked, because with Smite, if you don't play enough ranked every week, you're gonna lose your spot regardless. And quite frankly, I don't think I can handle that. And with recent events in Smite, I've just been getting slowly dissuaded. I don't know, the pressure there's a lot of reasons. Maybe I'll make a video about if I do choose to leave Smite, why I chose for that. But I think some will understand at least where I'm coming from. But for now, let's just jump into it, and we'll see why. I can only say that I can kind of understand where Tim Tastic Toy was coming from, especially when he was raging last year about the ADCs and stuff. But, you know. Anyway, let's jump into it with Bacchus' visual update. I will say I do like his enemy redesign. Apollo's there for some reason, which is good for the Yaoi fangirls, but, you know. Apart from this, I really don't like how he looks right now. I guess they said at the beginning of the year they were going to try and redesign some characters to be quote unquote more serious looking, because they want to be taken. Smite wants to be taken seriously. I understand. They want to make a mark in the MOBA world, because look, Overwatch, which while people won't admit it, it is a MOBA game. It has MOBA tropes and MOBA styles of gameplay aside from the FPS stuff. And that game just dominated the internet, and it still does. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Overwatch eventually just overtakes League of Legends in terms of like the hype and popularity in due time. League still is the best MOBA out there, but I just don't like what they did to Bacchus. I kind of like that he was silly, considering his whole kit is just I mean, it's annoying to deal with if you're fighting him, but when you think about it as it is in terms of seriousness, it's silly. You know, drinking beer, or wine in this case, jumping around and landing on your stomach and knock up people around you, and then burp on them, and then break the glass of wine on them. I think that's funny. I like that. I think it's silly for him because he looks silly. I know there's some more serious portrayals of him in art, and I guess that's what they're in artwork, and I can see why they did that. But I kind of like that he was the silly one, to be honest. But I mean, I don't take this game seriously. I mean, the Dark Horse comic was pretty cool, but I don't know. I get they're trying to at least they're not trying to be DC serious. Like, we got to be brooding and edgy. Like, everyone has to be Batman basically, except killing people. That he's got new mastery redesigns as a result of it. Again, he had one last year too. But anyway, new god skins. I will say the god skins have been getting better and better every time. I don't like the Abyssal Sorcerer Poseidon. It doesn't really appeal to me. It's like, if I wanted this, I'll just go get Anubis again. But yeah, let's listen to that.
I need to feast on fresh souls.
Then we have Vanguard Hercules, Eliminator Robin, and Marksman Rom.
Duel me! This is not over! Man, I thought we were friends.
Okay, first off, I mean, some will say, haha, like, holy shit, is that a motherfucking Dark Souls reference? Considering the little minigame we have that's coming soon, maybe, but I really doubt it. I mean, it just looks like a really cool knight skin. Honestly, I think he'll look really good if you have the Fernando skin for Ares. It'll look really good there. Rom, I like how he kind of has like the old '90s X-Men palette mixed in with Hawkeye's design. It's clear he's more Hawkeye than Green Arrow, since, you know, while Green Arrow has a show to himself, Hawkeye is actually well-liked character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I didn't think people would expect. I mean, people like Black Widow because, you know, she's played by Scarlett Johansson, but Hawkeye was actually a really enjoyable character, especially when you consider his family. But my favorite skin by far is Eliminator Robin. Now, I don't play Mortal Kombat, but I always did like the designs of some of the characters. I mean, especially, I didn't like when they started overusing the Scorpion and Sub-Zero redesign, or just palette swaps essentially. But I do like this robotic Scorpion design. I think it looks good. And plus, he's emulating the Scorpion pose, too. I think that's a nice nod to the Mortal Kombat franchise. Which, it's a completely different genre of games, but I love it. It works with Robin really well. I really want this skin so badly. Anyway, next up, lastly, is Seductress Daji. I guess it doesn't have a voice pack with it, but it looks really good. Uh, like Daji, I'll put it this way: Daji is like the one girl that people will fantasize about, but will never want to do anything with them because in her case, that'll be the last thing they do. And even so, some people's like, "Oh yeah, I would gladly die after having sex." Well, guess what? The way you might die might not be worth it. Anyway, Poseidon gets a dance. Haven't seen that, but I do wonder what it is. Next, we have the Trials of King Hercules' Adventure. Welcome to Kingdom of Hercules. You and two other valiant adventurers will be setting off into this dangerous jungle to defeat monsters and gain loot. Gain loot, get stronger, and triumph over the trial of King Hercules. The dungeon bundle has a loading frame, music theme, dungeon jump step, Vanguard, Hercules, and the gold key. And the limited skin is Abyssal Sorcerer Poseidon. I'm kind of glad I'm not gonna get that now. I'm probably just gonna send. I don't have any more money for gems, so if I do somehow scrounge up enough, I'm getting the bundle. I do like the Hercules skin. I probably won't get the Poseidon though. I'm gonna get the other one I don't have because I don't like the Poseidon skin. It doesn't appeal to me. You would think it might since I'm okay with dark mages, but they all look stereotypical. They like just don't believe me. Go ask Fire Emblem, especially how they portray the girls to be dark mages. That's why I like Canis. Canis is a breath of fresh air. But anyway, bug fixes for AMC, Bellona, Daji, Kumba, Kuzumbo, and Jing Chan. Nothing big there. Item changes. Bracer of Undoing, or as I like to call it, the selfish meditation. It's increased recent damage time from the first one, the standard one, the free one, from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. I think that's good because a lot can happen in 3 seconds, but a lot more can happen in 5 seconds. So to be able to undo, if you're a character that's going to get focused down, like say you're Amaterasu and you've just stormed out of solo lane and you are the character to beat in your team, like forget everybody else. You are going to be the problem for the rest. You're going to be the other team's nightmares, so they want to focus you and take you out. So if you had this, and say you get ulted twice and you're barely still alive, you could just undo all that shit right away. If you had 3 seconds, you wouldn't get it all back, most likely, especially if it was spread out. But 5 seconds is a lot more time. And then the upgraded version decreased cooldown from 120 seconds to 100 seconds, and has health and mana restored from 50% now to 60%. I think this is a really good buff because I think this item is underrated, but it just wasn't good enough. But with this time, the 5 seconds being the standard now, is good. Now, Sprinter Heavenly Wings is also getting a buff. Decreased cooldown from 150 to now 140 seconds, as well as the upgraded version. It will now be 150 from 150 to 110. So it's a 30-second difference now with the standard. However, because you buff, now this is smart. You buff Heavenly Wings, but you also buff Horrific Emblem. Decreased cooldown from 150 seconds to 130 seconds, and then the upgraded version is now 120 to 90 seconds. I think that's fair. Because if you're going to buff Sprint, you need to buff Curse. You need to buff the slow Curse. Phantom Veil, because Odin is a problem to the Joust meta at least. Decreased cooldown from 180 seconds to 150, and the upgraded version is now 180 to 130. So more of an incentive to pick this thing up. Sundering Spears. Sunder has been a problem apparently. Now I've been gone for a week. I've barely dabbled in the game in the past week. But I've heard that I was hearing that Sunder is insane and a nerf was likely. And look at this: decreased damage from 40 to 30, and then decreased damage per level from 14 to 12. The upgraded version, however, retains the 40. So basically, you go from 30 to 40 if you upgrade this, and it still has 14 per level damage. However, it gets a buff, or not a buff. It gets a nerf in terms of the cooldown. From 100 seconds to now 120 seconds. Death Toll. Death Toll increases mana restored in basic attacks from 3 to 4. And in basic attacks that hit all enemies in melee range, restore 4 health and mana on every enemy after the first. So basically, I've noticed that some people like to get Death Toll on, say, a Bologna, because Bludgeon is a heavy swing type of attack. It hits a broad hits a broad stroke. So basically, if you hit a horizontal row of minions, you would get 4. Technically, you would get 4 out of this buff, 4 mana. But now they changed it from 4 to 2, which is, I think, fair, because especially as someone like Izanami, Death Toll is really good on Izanami because she could just rack up the health and mana no problem. Sustain is not an issue with that. Then Runeforged Hammer. Oh, how I wouldn't say the mighty have fallen. I need to think of the opposite version. Okay, so sorry about that sneeze. I've heard that this thing also got pretty good. Apparently, they have they made Runeforged Hammer great again. So now they had to buff it, or nerf it, increase money cost from 2,000 gold to 2,300 gold. And now we go to God changes. Now, Daji has apparently not been performing to people as much as they would want. Basically, we, the Smite community, are a bunch of masochists, and they're going to prove that how much we really are like that. Anyway, Horrible Burns applies a slow 10 to 30%. 1,000 cuts, upgraded the description that it states increased movement speed, increased base damage per rank from 15 to 95 to now 15 to 115, or which is now basically, if you land all hits, it is 60 to 380 to now 60 to 460. That's a 400 power increase. Jeez. Increased physical power scaling per hit from 20% to 30%, 80 to 150% total. Now knock up immune while channeling. Trickster Spirit reduced post-fire time from 0.2 to 0, so now it's instant, no delay. The Powwow cannot be cancelled early, which is pretty good. Right-clicking or cancelling will bring the jump up targeter, allowing Daji to jump from the Powwow early. Increase the duration of the shooting time from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. Increase Powwow deployable duration from 7 seconds to 9 seconds, and made the chains easier to see. So they made the chains thicker, just like Daji. But I think this is actually pretty good. I don't know how well she did because, like I said, I haven't paid any attention to this. In fact, I haven't played since they added her. I only played the weekend before she was to come out. But if it's as bad as I've heard, then this is good. Especially because the Powwow, I feel like it was unlike Ramzel. I feel like it would make sense that you can cancel. Like, say you get your chains early, you're just standing there wasting time when you could be gathering them. Because by then, if you give them too much time, they might be able to find a way to get CC immune. Never know. And now here's where things get dicey for me. Fafnir. Now, yet Fafnir's an aggressive support, but they had to nerf him again because Guardians are the fucking problem with this game. Okay. Curse Strength. Decreased damage from 100 to 260 to now 80 to 260. Sure, whatever. I can let that pass. I can let that slide. His early game can be a bit of a problem, but maybe. Really, the Dragon form is really when he starts to pick it up, when he puts more points into it. However, Coerce. Decreased self-heal from 50 to 170 to now 50 to 150. And increased mana cost from just 50 flat to now 50 to 70. Now you have to pay more. Honestly, I really don't like this on Coerce because it's apparently a problem. I don't think it's that bad. Really, when it's in dragon form, I can see, yes, this thing is a lot worse considering you can just buff everybody that's just huddled around you. Huddle around the dragon to be warm and then it gets stronger, then go beat the shit out of people. But, okay, whatever. Guardian's problem. Like, Ganesh, okay, this one I can understand. It makes sense, but although to be fair, why would you use Dharmic Pillars to do damage to minions and juggled monsters? Because now it deals 40%. I guess that's an unintentional one. Like, apparently, my guess is somebody thought, I'm going to use my ult, which is, to trap enemies and put them in a panic. Basically put a mental strain on them. I'm going to use that to drag out, say, the Gold Fury and do it. Or I could just leave it on the Fire Giant and just get constant damage. I guess that's what people are thinking they'll do. But I don't think I'd use this ult unless I'm trying to steal it. Like, that's the only reason I could see it. But that may be where they're coming from. Anyway, Khepri. Okay, Khepri, as you know, is not an early game god. He is more so mid to late game, especially once he has his cooldown and after he's got all his protections to help his allies. His ult can be the most clutch thing in the entire game. In fact, it is the most clutch thing. If you've probably seen videos of me getting some really clutch ultimates, like getting that thing on somebody the minute they get shot, the one shot, the last shot that's meant to kill them, and then bam, they're back to me, and now they're out. They go back to base. They're safe. I save them. It's like, oh, everyone's like, holy shit, thank you. But I mean, I would think, okay, out of all the things you nerf on Khepri, still, that's probably the only thing within reason. But his 2 is apparently a problem, because now Rising Dawn reduced damage from 12 to 24 to now 10 to 22. Because Guardians are the fucking problem with this game. Meanwhile, they buff every damage dealer. Which, speaking of, Neath has a bit of a buff. Backflip increased damage from 60 to 220 to now 80 to 240. And then World Weaver increased stun duration from 1 to 1.5 to now 1.5 at all ranks. Of course, I really doubt you'll ever see them nerf Neath because she's the mascot. They're not going to do anything to her. But she's not the most threatening ADC. She can be, trust me, she can be pretty good if she can get her the right item build, and then you go on a really good streak. She can be great. She can be the most devastating player on the field. But to be fair, that could be anybody really. Anyway, yeah, it'll be really unfortunate if this is my final video because it's not the way to go. I'll make a more proper video for that along with better reasonings. This is only just a teaser, but hey, you never know. I may change my mind soon. You never know. I just want to be certain, so yeah. Thank you all for sticking around. If you have anything to add in the comment section below, feel free to do so. But in case it's my last Smite video, it was a good run. I enjoyed the time I had with Smite, and I made some good friends from playing it. I've also lost some friends while playing it, but hey, that's pretty much life for you. Anyway, that'll do it for this video, and I'll see you guys in another one.